Hey guys, I'm Vanessa Cruz. I am the Director of Student Ministries at 7th Street Church in Long Beach, California. I'm so excited to share with you something that set me free early on in student ministries. And so I want to set you free today. You and I have the permission to fail. Did you hear me? You and I have the permission to fail. I don't know about you, but that's freeing. So what is failing? Is failure trying something new and it not working out? Or is failing not trying at all? You know, for me, when I started my role in directing student ministries, I remember that was my biggest fear. My biggest fear was the fear of failure. I was scared that I wasn't gonna have the right numbers or the best program or the great events or the best camp. All this fear creeped up in my heart and in my mind. And I remember that I sat down with my pastors, just being blunt and real with where I was at. And the one advice that they gave me, and the best advice that set me free, was this idea that I have the permission to fail. I have permission to just try new things, to do something that's new, to take a risk, to go further, to go deeper. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. But if I wasn't doing anything, that is failure. And so that brought so much freedom to me, to be able to do something new and to try something and to not be afraid to take a risk. And so I want to share with you, because in Scripture, we're reminded to not give up and to keep going and to keep sowing. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 through 9, it says, "Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. Those who live only to satisfy their own sinful nature will harvest decay and death from that sinful nature. But those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life through the Spirit." So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we do not give up. If we do not give up. Having permission to fail is just that. It's not giving up. It's not when we try something and it doesn't work out, we don't stop and just forget it and just go with what we know and the routine. It's not giving up. It's trying something new. It's doing something different. And so here are some keys to why permission to fail is so important for you and I. This is how God's success in our ministries will happen. The first thing is that it encourages innovation and creativity. It encourages for you and I to have innovative ideas, to be able to think outside the box. Think about it. When we have the freedom to do something, we then have the freedom to do something new and to take a risk. But when we are living out of fear and fear of failure, we're so stuck to routine. We're stuck to what we know. We're stuck to what the person before us did it. So I want to encourage you to be innovative and to be creative. You know, the biggest hiccup in student ministries is just that. We get stagnant, we get stuck to routine. We just know that this will work, so why change it? So here's the thing, is that permission to fail. There's freedom in that. Try something new today. Try something new this week, this month, this year. I want to encourage you that you have the permission to fail. And so be creative, be innovative. The second thing is that it shifts the culture and allows for your team to develop and to grow. You know, the thing about having the permission to fail is that you and I don't have to control everything. We don't have to live out of this idea that we have to make sure that everything works out perfectly because this is how we know it's going to get done. You now have the room for you to grow and to develop your team. You now have your leaders being able to take risks, to step up. When you live out in this way, having permission to fail, you allow your team to take a risk in a place where they thought they would never do, to maybe speak, to lead a group, to disciple a kid, to sing on worship, to do something new and afresh in this generation. And so I want to encourage you to develop and to grow your team in such a way that they also have the permission to fail, that they can do something new and do something fresh. For me in student ministries, I have an amazing team, and that is their biggest win for me. Is that when they come up with an idea and they come up with something new, I'm excited and I let them know that it's gonna be okay. Let's try it, let's do it. You have the permission to fail. And if it fails, who cares? We'll try something new. We'll stop it and do something new next week. For example, something so small. On Tuesday nights, we have youth group. And one of my girl youth workers, she was like, I want to change the lighting on stage, and I want to change like this chair setup. And we have a routine. We set up the chairs the same way every week. But this young girl just had a new idea. And I told her, let's do it. Let's try it and see if it works. Sure enough, we did it the following week, and it worked. It changed the atmosphere. The kids were having more fun. They were excited that they got to be around their friends, that there was just so much space to move around. They were having a blast. Again, that wouldn't have happened if I would have just been stuck to our routine and stuck to what we do. Instead, I allowed a leader to grow and to be developed and to be empowered to do what she was thinking and the creativity that she had. And the third thing is the most important thing that I think permission to failing is really important. It reminds us to lean on God and not on ourselves. It reminds us that this ministry isn't our ministry, it's His ministry. These kids aren't our kids, as hard as that is to believe. It's His kids. These events, these programs, it doesn't really matter if He's not in it. So it allows us to lean on Him and not on ourselves. And so what does that look like for you and I as a youth worker? What does it look like to lean on Him, to trust in His plans, to trust in what He's doing in your ministry, in your community, in your students' lives? When we give ourselves permission to fail, what we're really doing is we're letting go of the reins and we're allowing God to do what He does best. And we do something new and we trust that it's going to work out at some point. Again, Scripture tells us at just the right time, we will reap a harvest and of blessings if we do not give up. And here's the thing is that at just the right time, you will reap a harvest. So don't give up. I know youth ministry is exhausting and it's hard and it's difficult and it's so easy to stay stagnant and to do what we know. It is the comfortable part of ministry. But youth worker, you and I have a huge assignment over our lives. You and I have to do the new thing. We have to take risks. This generation is a generation of innovators and creators. And so you and I have to take a risk to do something new. You and I have permission to fail. So I encourage you that as you continue to lead your ministry, continue to lead your team, continue to lead your students, continue to lead yourself, you have the permission to fail. I hope that brings freedom the way it brought freedom to me, because that is the only way that I can lead, is to be able to know that I have the freedom to fail.